congratulations on the successful hosting of the second annual Young African Thinkers Convention. Thank you. Africa's most valuable resources is not her rivers and mountains. It is not beautiful coastline or her mineral resources. It's not her gold, diamonds, precious stones, fertile land, or ideal climate conditions. Africa's most prosperous commodity is her youth. According to the 2012 ADB report, that's the Africa Development Bank, Africa has the fastest growing and most useful population in the world. 40% is under the age of 15 and 20% is between the ages of 15 and 24. This translates to 60% under the age of 24. This makes Africa the most wealthy of all the continents of the world in terms of young population. So we should thank God for this great energy that God has put together in this continent. I would present to the AU and all the leaders of Africa in this sacred hall of assembly. A diamond is just a rock until it is mined. A river means nothing if we fail to properly access and utilize its waters. An abundance of arable land is useless unless it's properly tilled. What happens if we fail to create a system or a structure by which our young people can dream of a bright future for Africa and fulfill their potentials? The truth is, we have failed them miserably, so they have taken matters into their own hands. That's why the Young African Thinkers Convention is all about. They have proven that they are capable of contributing in a meaningful way to the bright future we all aspire for Africa. They champion the cause of grassroots development in Africa. This is important because the development that comes from the outside comes with its own agenda. It is that agenda that leaves the talents of ancient colonialism deeply entrenched in our continent until this day. Before us is the future of Bill Gates and the future of Barack Obama's. Before us is the future Albert Einstein's and the future Martin Luther King Jr.'s. Before us sit the future Kwame Nkrumah's, Thomas Sankar's, and Nelson Mandela's. All they need is a small window of opportunity and the freedom to grow and learn, and even to learn from their mistakes. I came from a small town in the highlands of Ethiopia. My feet didn't know what shoes were until I was 15 years old. After my father died when I was 16, I experienced extreme and acute poverty. And in that year, I worked hard and passed the national exam, which means that I could matriculate to the Teachers Training Institute in Harar in the hopes of furthering my education. But I didn't have enough money for the bus fare to reach that school. I had the potential and drive, I had the acceptance and the place reserved for me, but I lacked this small amount of bus fare. I cannot begin to tell you the despair I felt and the cloud of miseries that hung over me. That bus fare for me was the difference between a bright future and a cyclical poverty that I had grown painfully accustomed to. On that day I was to leave, a relative who heard about my plight stepped up and gave me the money for my bus fare. And because of that bus fare, I was able to go to Harar. And because of that bus fare, I was able to graduate and get my first job. And because of that bus fare, I was able to assume the director position at an American mission school in Addis Ababa at a tender age of 23. Because of that bus fare, I was able to travel the world and 2 master's degrees, 1 earned and 1 honorary doctorate degrees. Because of that bus fare, I became the executive director of an international organization at the age of 35. Because of that bus fare. I've dined with governors, presidents, and kings. I have sat on prestigious boards and addressed a select committee of the US Congress. All this because someone decided to pay my bus fare. Excuse me. My question to the leaders of the African Union and the leaders of Africa is, who will pay the bus fare for the youth of Africa today? Who will understand the power and the potential of a bus fare. It's my strong position that the future of this continent hangs in the balance, not in the potential of the youth, but in the space we provide for them to harness their own potential and destinies. There is enough talk about the potential of the youth and how they are the bright hope, etc. The real question is, who will pay the bus fare? May God Almighty shine His face on Africa, and may someone arise to their civic duty and pay the bus fare. Thank you so much.